everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for this edition of YBMcast, powered by Game 7 Baseball, Game7Baseball.com. And that was a fine.com from Mitchie the Kid, joining us here from the hitting zone. Actually, probably not from the hitting zone, but he's a working man. He's getting stuff done out there. Couldn't get into the studio. We had a great time with Dave Penning in our wrap-up show. Had a great tournament out there. Game7Baseball.com. Get your team. If you're looking for a tournament, if you got some movement or something still out there, there's some spots maybe still available here and there. We're going to be out at the Cinco de Mayo tournament Saturday, full of interviews. Had a great time. Best unis. We got something we're going to do. Best unis. We're going to do this because, Mitch, you should have seen these Sparta Ray unis. They were fire.
I did. I saw them. I couldn't quite read what it said, and then I think this was on Game 7's post when they do their little showcase things with the tickets and all that.
Yeah.
I saw them, and I went, that's another one, because it reminded me of the tropics down there in SEMO.
Yeah.
Kind of the vibe of what they were kind of chasing there. So definitely liked them.
It's one thing to have a bold uniform, but it's another thing to have a bold uniform and it to look good, right?
It did. I mean, if I'm not into that style, that stuff for me is like pinstripes to you. I'm not a huge fan of what of the San Diego Padres City Connect uniforms, the pink, the yellow, and stuff. And I think mostly it's because I don't look good in it.
Well, I understand what they were trying to do, but I think that went bad. Somebody had a dream, woke up and said, "Let's do that," and they said, "No." They said, "Yeah, it's bad."
Yeah, it's bad. Most of them are, really.
I don't like the Dodger City Connect uniforms, and they stopped wearing them. That ugly all blue with just this black. What are you doing? So hopefully the Cardinals can get it right. We'll see.
We got a month. It's supposed to come out in a month. There's been some leaks. I don't know how accurate the leaks are, but we just saw the ones from New York Mets come out. Have you had a chance to see that yet?
No, I haven't.
Go check it out. I think you'll like it as far as the ideas. I don't know if they hit or not, but
we have Mitchie the Kid joining us here on the Prime Sports Midwest call-in link, and folks, we had we got the mobile studio, we got the mobile store. Prime Sports out on the Saturdays with us. Check it out. Come out come by the studio. Interviews. You can check out the stuff at the store. It's a lot of fun. We're making it work out there at the Game 7 baseball tournaments with our great partners, Prime Sports Midwest. We got a topic here, though, I want to address. And I've been talking about this a little while. We've touched it here and there, but roster sizes and things of that nature. I think, I believe we especially at some of these 14U levels, I know everybody wants playing time, and I know the arguments of we're paying to play. No, you're not. You're paying for the development process. Play is earned. Play is always earned. You're not paying to play. Parents, please. You're paying for the development process. You've gone to this club because you believe it's going to help your child develop into the player he should be. That should be the thought. The play and the tournament play and the games should be a product of what is earned by that player's development process and how well he is applying the information to his game. Am I off base?
Absolutely not. I couldn't agree more with what you said there. At the 14U level, that's the first time I started coaching a group, and I hadn't planned on coaching when I took on this group. And I only had 12 kids, and we would get into a tournament, and I didn't have enough. I had kids I was throwing out there that hadn't pitched in a couple years. The previous team didn't need them and whatnot. And I know that you specified 14U. I think that's where stuff starts to change in the high school side. I I just think about the biggest, what I love. Let me backtrack. Sorry. I loved the comment you just made about competition in general, like playing time is earned. Um, club ball is getting more expensive. The cost of doing business is more expensive. The tournaments, the turf, everything is going up. The baseballs, the umpires, and so it's only getting more expensive for everybody. So stop, please stop using the term "I pay, I should deserve something." You are paying for an experience. If your athlete's not getting developed, you need to make a move. You need to make decisions. If your experience is not what you want it to be, there has to be value. I understand playing time is something you want.
Sure.
Of course it is. As a competitor, you want to have that. But the biggest issue comes from the parent side typically because they're the ones that are forking out these thousands of dollars. I get it. I understand. I'm a parent. I'm a coach. I'm a director. I have all sides of this that I think about on a routine basis. If your athlete gets 20% of the playing time of the games played, there probably is going to be a reason. He's either not putting in the extra work. He only puts in 20% of effort at practice. He doesn't pay attention. He doesn't care to be there. There's all kinds of those factors. So for me, I love what you said there. It's earned. And please, at any level, 10, 11, 12, and I know that when you get younger, it's rosters and things are different. Stop with the I pay to be a part of this club and experience. The games. It is 100% about development experience.
And we see this week in and week out. You see a roster with 10 kids, and everybody says, "Well, we all pitch." Okay, what do you call pitching?
We're all injured by the time we're 15 years old.
And you really have 10 pitchers? I think that would be a rarity. I mean, an extreme rarity. At the most, if you've got a roster with 10 players, at the most, you may have 5 pitchers. And the
Yeah,
rest
yes.
are guys that you put on the mound that you hope are have the ability to throw the ball over the plate. And you may have that. You may have 5 guys that can pitch and 5 guys that can throw the ball around the plate and get what you need. Okay, fine. Fair enough. I'll accept that. Okay? But I still don't think that is necessarily the way we should go, because and when you're talking about rosters and you're talking about pitching, when you get into Sunday, and this is where everybody goes, oh well, you get the run rules. That's where you start seeing the run rules. You might even see some really tight games. Oh, we played this game really tight, and you come back the next day on Sunday and you're in there and you get hammered because you're out of pitching. You're out of real pitching because you've used your guys to get there. Correct?
Yeah, my belief in this roster thing is more than what you're kind of getting to. I care about the injury side, the long term impact of these
Perfect.
young people. I get like you run into some buzz saws. You pick the wrong guy to pitch at the wrong time. Like these things happen in a weekend. But again, like the whole thing is you have 10 kids on your roster, playing time is there. You don't hear nobody, sorry, I almost cussed there, griping, and moaning, if you will, over a weekend. And imagine having 12 kids because you're batting roster. And that's something that we think that we have to do. And I would love to get away from batting roster because I don't need a kid that throws 75 pitches and then goes and plays center field or shortstop and then
Right.
or then goes behind the dish and catches because there's only 2 catchers on the team.
Right.
Does everybody catch and does everybody pitch? Does everybody play shortstop? Does everybody play center field? So that you can do this perfect rotation of guys so that after your arm gets done, he can just hit? Or is he also your best shortstop and he's also your best pitcher?
I s-
So these
Yeah.
are things that bother me more than anything is the injury side, long term,
I think one of the toughest ones is you see the kid that caught the game before, then pitches in the next game,
and then catches again.
right?
There,
I,
there, there is absolutely zero regard for our athletes at this youth level. I personally think, I know that I know we're trying to do the best that we can with given, but again, it's, you get into imagine if this was double elimination tournaments. Oh my Lord, it would be a disaster for these young people. I'm happy some of it's single elimination so that some of these kids can get out of there sooner. And I mean that's being petty, but in my opinion, it's health for me, and I'm saying it till I'm blue in the face.
and
I don't
he,
want kids hurt.
let's put it this way too. And I'm saying these things. You can comment below, please. Comment below. Tell me what you think of what I'm saying. I'm all for that. I have no problem with the conversation. I have my thoughts about things, and somebody may think differently, but the conversation is there to be had. But I believe this. I believe this could come if the club started doing this to a greater degree. You have, creating more roster spots on a team, depending upon the age level as well. I know it may be a little more difficult to have more kids on a 9U, 10U team, but it can't be that much more. I mean, maybe you have 12 kids on that roster, right? That means at any point, you've got 3 kids on the bench. You got 3 subs. And you bat in the roster and you rotate that and you're teaching these kids at that 9 and 10U age, you got to earn your playing time. It isn't given to you. And if the parent is upset with that, I think maybe that's something we have to change culturally in that respect. Because at every level beyond that youth side, you've got to earn your spot. You don't get to go to high school unless you're playing maybe class 4, maybe class 3 or below. But then is it real? I understand those situations because there's just not a lot of population in these schools. So the coaches are doing the best they can with the kids they have. Simple as it gets. So you have this situation, and as it goes up, maybe at 11 and 12, it increases to 13, and then 13 and 14. You got 14, maybe 15. You got kids that maybe start looking at you're going to we'll get you some at bats, but you're going to be a PO. And we want you to focus on this. You got a kid throwing 90 miles an hour. He needs to take that break. He shouldn't be, out. Or I shouldn't say 90. Very few 14-year-olds throwing. But if he starts throwing the low to mid 80s, that's a lot of stress on a 14-year-old arm. Am I
We are
wrong?
talking. That's a super undeveloped athlete. I mean, I'm not sure that the verbiage I used there was the best I could have used, but where does I think about growth in general, and they're about to hit some growth spurts in between that 14U age group. So they're going out there and they're pumping at 80 something miles an hour, which I think it's fantastic to be throwing that well there. But I'm thinking about how like the kid's nutrition is not probably good enough. The kid doesn't have enough thickness, enough muscle to support what's happening in the arm. So we talk about a lot of the arm injuries, which is big in today's this year, whether it's the lack of grip, the whatever else they're trying to blame it on, the pitch clock. Like that stuff's dumb to me. Like that's and it's just at the highest level. We're trying
Right.
to throw so hard. We're trying to do things that make it difficult. Like I look, I can't. This one bothers me. But youth level, right? We'll
Yeah.
go back to the youth. You got to bring me back to earth because I'm starting to get off track with my
Yeah,
mindset, and I
stay
apologize.
right there. We're talking
Yeah,
9 to 14.
I apologize.
That's
But
okay.
why can't tournament providers do like a modified thing where we have uh, a 10 kid, 11 kid, and that's the max that you can bat is 11. Our teams and our parents need to say, okay, well, 13 or 14 kids are on that roster. What it does is protect some health. What it could do is it can minimize the number of teams in your program, same amount of players, minimizes the numbers. Maybe the teams actually get a little bit better overall because instead of having 10, you now have 14. So instead of having resources for 10 teams, now you have resources for 8, which should make the experience and development better. Why are we so focused on, well, I have to bat roster at 10 years old, so I can't have 11 or 12 kids at 8 9U, but that's the biggest age groups that we have with the most teams. Let's shrink that down, get a few more, have a few different rules that allow us to manipulate lineups, and just as a coach do a good job of manipulating your time. Like, why can't I? Spreadsheets are amazing, right? Excel spreadsheets. You can put all kinds of formulas in there. You want to talk about playing time? I can tell you how many innings a kid has by the way I set it up. Why can't you give 20 innings on a year for every player?
What's the development process? Earning. And the only thing I would push back on what you said there is I don't want to put this on the tournament providers because they're putting out basic rules. I think this should be at the club level. We're the developers of these players. How are we developing? And what are we developing them for? To win championships or to go play high school baseball? Winning is a byproduct of the development process. Talent and ability. This is how those things work. If that was the case, there wouldn't be, how come, who was it last year only won 50 games in the MLB? These are the best players in the world.
It might have been. I don't know if it was the A's or the Tigers, and you see what's happening. You brought up something earlier speaking about the big leagues. You realize that the Baltimore Orioles have a team full of shortstops, and when you talked about a team full of pitchers,
Mm-hmm.
very rarely does a team ever build its team on I need to have 10 pitchers. They
Right.
build their team on who's the best shortstop, who might be an okay thrower.
Right.
But you got a good pitcher that's not a good first baseman.
Right.
And so, like, I just think about these things on what do colleges build their teams on?
They bring
Shortstops, because they're the best players and the most athletic, right?
right.
It's like we don't build them on pitching.
No.
So give yourself the roster size to allow you to be competitive from start to finish. And I didn't mean to throw like a jab at any director or tournament provider
No, I
because
understand. I'm
we
just
I
saying
the
I don't
best
care who
experience I
the
had.
I don't care if it's perfect game, if it's PBR, Game 7, GMB, whoever. I don't care I don't think it should be the tournament directors or the tournament providers' job to police rosters in that respect. Their
Oh
only
yeah, agreed.
action, their only action should be, are these people on your roster, so that it's done fair. You're not shipping in people from everywhere. And this guy, right? That's what they do, and that's how
Yeah,
it keeps it fair.
I think one of the things I like most about working with you is you always want to come up with a solution. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the big things about you is like solutions. And I feel like it's a combination of everything can create a solution to have healthy events, healthy players, getting to Sunday and seeing a healthier score, not something that's a 15 to 14 and the guy that threw on Friday has to throw again to get you 15 pitches, because he's eligible to throw 15 or 20 pitches. Um, I would, and that's what I brought in kind of the director side tournament was the solution. If they made it this, then we would have to adapt as coaches, but that has to be in an agreement. Like this
Right.
has to be us sitting down as directors of clubs, sitting with tournament providers and saying, "Hey, can we do this? Is this a great idea? Is this a bad idea?"
Right.
Because I don't know if it is a good idea. I just, again, I don't want injured athletes at 15 years old.
And I think we're seeing a lot. I've seen so many seniors losing their senior year to arm issues. That sucks. Sometimes things happen, right? It is what it is. And I get that. Um, but I'm watching these kids that have and they're like, oh, their career's not over and whatnot. But still, at some point, that's your senior year of high school. You may have an opportunity for a run at a championship because you have talent. And people say, well, you weren't talking about, it's a big difference between high school baseball and 9U baseball, okay, at the varsity level. You know, these teams are actually playing to win the state championship. That's the goal. You've set that. Now, in that, the development process at 9U should be focused more on that. And the byproduct of winning a championship is you are working to develop these kids in the proper way. And if you win one tournament, fantastic. If you're having success and the kids are getting better, fantastic. Where are you at? Assessing where you're at and understanding where your team is in a development process and understanding, well, we may not win a lot this year. That's okay. And the parents have to be okay with that. But by the time we're 10, 11, and 12, the process of development and we're becoming more competitive as a unit, as a team, and the opportunity to win a championship becomes a relevant thought process. That's the way the mindset should be working here when we have these teams. Everybody's going to these tournaments, oh, we can. No, your team is not good enough to beat the rest of the field. That's just a fact. Oh my gosh, you can't say that. Yes, I can, because I see it every week. I see a lot of that. You're just not good enough. And that doesn't mean you can't be. What are you doing to help these kids get to that place? And that's where I think our focus has to shift back to these concepts of how we are preparing the mindset. And I think it starts with, I like your take on the injury prevention part of it with the rosters and things like that, because I think that's one of the best case scenarios there, Mitch.
Recently for me, I've had the opportunity to train and learn some new things. And I'm realizing the things that we're asking of our athletes, they can't do.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we want them to throw hard, and that's how we get recruited, and it's exciting. It being able to learn that these young people, like when I play ball, and when you did, we always ran outside, right? We always were running and jumping. We played tennis, we played football, we played hockey, we played whatever, we don't do that enough. So we're not training our bodies to manipulate and do things that we want it to do. So now we're asking a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid to start developing because he has arm potential, right? So
Right.
now that he has arm potential, we want to train him for this arm potential. And so we're putting him through plyos, we're putting him through weights, we're putting him through all these things. And then we were just like, throw the ball as hard as you can.
Mm-hmm.
That kid's still undeveloped. And I for one, I love it. I love the piece. But, the debate on like watching somebody like me grow up at 14 years old, I was bigger than most kids. So my body was able to withstand some of this stuff.
And
I
I
can't
think,
ask a 110-pound kid to try to throw the ball 80 miles an hour at 14.
and this is where, and we YBMcast, we're going to start doing some different things. And one of the reasons why I like this setting, we do our regular shows, like we have our Game 7 wrap-ups, a lot of fun just talking to baseball with the kids and recapping the weekend and having some fun. But we're going to start, Mitch is going to take, it's going to be called The Hitting Zone. It's going to be talking about hitting. It'll be a podcast based on those things. He's going to get guests and whatnot. And I have my son, Justin, returning to talk about physical things. He's a certified trainer who works for Supplement Superstores. He's got a lot of it. He was a pitcher, and we're going to look at the pitching aspect and whatnot because I think this is one, and we're going to dedicate these podcasts to these things, and that's all it's going to be about. Because I really enjoy this conversation, and I think it needs to be had because, you'd want to bring in some of these guys that are doing the pitching. I look at this scenario. And when we're talking about rosters, especially as you said, Mitch, you were a bigger kid. Well, my son, he was a smaller kid growing up. He didn't get his size till way into college. And that happens a lot. And it's like the debate we have with the -5 and the -3. I'm this way across the board. I don't change my perspective on these things no matter the case because I still think we're doing the same thing. I would much rather teach the kids how to pitch and let the body develop and the velocity come as the body develops. And I think that's where we've gotten this backwards a little bit. We're trying to make these 13-year-old throw 90 miles an hour, and he isn't developed enough physically to probably handle that strain, rather than taking the opposite course and just teaching him how to pitch, be a pitcher, throw a three-pitch mix. Can you throw a three-pitch mix? Do you understand grip, spin rate, those types of things, and allow for his body as it gets stronger to add the velocity to it? Because it does matter. You can say what you want to. Velocity does matter, and it's okay. But I just think we could go about that a little bit differently.
Yeah, of course. And back to roster size, how do we allow these kids to grow? If we're
Right.
taking them out of the pitching, then putting them in shortstop, catcher, center field, and asking them to throw 80 pitches in a weekend and then turn around and try to throw somebody out in the championship game from center field. We're talking about two different things, right? And
Yeah.
so, how can we train these guys at 14 years old to try to throw this hard? And if you're going to ask me, and we may differ on this, I think it's harder to develop the athlete's size, strength, than it is to develop, say, mechanics or locations. I think it's easier to uh, train the ability to throw strikes than it is to build an athlete. That's just something that I've experienced over the last few weeks, months, trying to talk to guys that are much more involved into this than I am as far as nutrition and things like that go. And what I'm thinking and what I'm working with my group is their change from 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, they change almost every 8, 9 months, 10 months. They're changing, whether they're getting thicker, they're getting taller, they're getting lankier, whatever the case may be. So I might have to teach location 3 different times. You
And
know what
that's
I mean?
okay.
Because they grow differently.
Right.
But what the one thing that we know is that it says if I want to throw X, I have to be this type of athlete. And that is the common. Like there's obviously players out there that are like your uh oh geez, I lost my like the freak out in San Francisco and Tim Lincecum, Billy Wagner for the Houston Astros. You can be a 5'9" guy, and so those are rare. But
It is
everybody
rare.
else that's common, you got to be 210 pounds. You got to jump 40 inches in the air. If you cannot do those things, you're not going to throw certain numbers. You're just not going to. Doesn't mean you're not going to be good. It doesn't mean that you can't throw a fastball that rides. Doesn't mean you can't throw a good slider. You know what I mean? It's like let's make sure we're training the right way, and then ultimately, as coaches, when we play, we need to make sure that after they're done pitching, they have a day off. Let them hit. There's not that they have DHs. And this is what I was going back to with the club or the tournament director side. They have EHs, the extra hitters. They're giving you slots. Go ahead and get your man a rest. That's so what if it's the championship game? Don't put this kid at risk because you want to win. And no offense to any tournament provider, the rings are awesome,
Yeah.
but they're cheap. They're not. They're not $700 rings. They're not state championship rings. And I love Game 7. and I love being able to play for them because you don't play this game to lose. You play for experiences, and you go out there to win the game. But to what casualty at this young age?
Okay, this last weekend, the 14U championship team had 12, 13 kids on the roster. There was 3 kids sitting on the bench, so that's 12. There was 3 kids sitting on the bench. And so to me, there's a difference there. And there was some changes made. The one kid that was pitched to, I think that he wasn't out there playing. I think the thought process was there. And I think that is the mentality. I like that. Do I think maybe you could add a couple more kids? Maybe you could, but I'm not there in those discussions. I don't know what the players and levels and things of that nature. I mean, I'm not there, so I'm not going to speak to that. But one thing I was impressed was that they had those bench players, and they can do that with that. And I think that was an interesting thought process. You don't see that very often, Mitch.
You don't. And another thing that this helps with, back to the 14U age group, is when you walk into high school, and let's say you're at some of the larger schools that we cover, for our GAC games of the week, and we're getting ready to do that tomorrow with the GAC North. Some of the biggest schools are South, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
They got 20 something guys on their roster. And so when you're 14 years old and you have to compete for your playing time, what you have is parents starting to understand what it's going to be like in high school, what it's going to be like at the varsity level, what it's going to be like at the college level. I mean, college rosters have 40 kids on it. There's a bunch of freshmen on it. They weed them out by not giving them playing time. They will do that stuff on purpose to say who is dedicated to the program, who wants to be here. You want to transfer? Go ahead. We don't care. We'll replace you. Because that's how difficult this gets. And that's what we have to prep for. So go ahead, put your kid out there, let him sit, let him be the best player he can be, but give that kid a day off.
Yeah.
See how he is as a teammate. See how he is as a leader. Like, there's some value in this, right? So let your dude go out there in the semifinal game, and that's the game he pitches, because you got to bye in the first round. And so you throw your dude in the semifinals to get you the championship. Go ahead and let him sit. He can hit. He can DH, do his job. But let's see how he is on the bench. Does he rally his teammates around when things don't go their way? Because that's a skill set that coaches, believe it or not, at the college level are saying that's the separators. Because everybody who wants to go to college can play baseball.
Yes.
Whatever level it's at, it can play baseball. D1, D2, D3, good schools, bad schools, they can play baseball. You know what I mean? And so it just we have to do a better job of creating competition, creating safety for our players. And this is the one that I feel is what I've done a good job as a coach. I carry 15 kids on my roster.
And to the point we talk about solutions, this is the solution to some of that. And it's maybe not all of it, but it is a solution, is increasing roster sizes to create some better situations for the kids, health-wise, mentally, developing them as a teammate, developing these processes. In the major leagues, these guys get days off. It's not what you don't, and we all sit around and go, oh man, my kid played 82 games. How old is he? 10? I don't think that's good. I just don't. You know,
Brian, I just chuckle because I have so much energy towards this as a guy that loves development.
yeah,
You need to play games.
yes.
You need games. There's so much more that we could be doing for our young people to prepare them for long-term success. And you used a word in there talking about the process.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest part is spending thousands of dollars over a 8-year period from your 10 to your 18 years old and you wanting something particular. It doesn't always work out.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Kids choose different paths. This is why you go from 40,000 high school players to just 4,000 college athletes. There's
And
so much we have to have long term mindsets.
And to your point, if you're truly investing in a child, whatever, what did they get out of that experience? Even if they choose not to continue to play baseball, did they get something out of that experience? Was your investment worth what the child? Did he understand? Did it make him a better person in doing this? Did it give him a better leadership skills and things that he could take and apply in other aspects of their lives? And this is the point that not everything, because as you said, that's the big key. The percentages continue to dwindle from youth sports to high school to college and then the ultimate. And there is a very small percentage of people that ever made it to the MLB. It's just the way it is.
I have athletes, Brian, that will and parents that have given me a hard time when I coach them. Told me that I caused them to lose the love for the game, and all these different accusations towards me. 5 years after high school, I can't believe, Coach, that the things that you were trying to prepare me for in 14U, 16U, 18U softball and baseball, I can't believe those things are now happening in my life.
Right.
And all those times I thought you were being mean to me, or sitting me because I did this or because I acted this way, I can see now that it was inappropriate. It wasn't how life really is. It's not these things. I am not just coaching you to win every single weekend. I am coaching you to compete hard, to train hard, to break the mind down, because I think baseball and softball have got to be the two hardest on the brain. It is such a. I love that. I hate that I love this game so much, kind of thing, because it just tears you apart internally, because it's a game of again, failure. You have to embrace these things, and if you can't embrace those things, you're not going to be a good leader in the next stage of your life. And so when I'm hard on a kid and I sit them for 2-3 days because they acted a particular way at school, well, you're going to act that way as an adult. So I'm trying to impact your life to say that's not okay. There's a consequence for your actions, because we don't have enough of this. And guess what? They hated me at the time. The parent told me that I was sick and tired of spending $3,000 with you a year. You did nothing for my child, but yet I get sometimes free dinners because I'll go out and I'll see them out and they'll go pay for my meal for the thank you on what I encouraged them to try to do at that time.
Yeah.
Hey, gotta let it go. I don't like to hear that. Trust me, because I don't want anybody telling me that I'm the reason they lost love for the sport. You never loved it to begin with, to be honest.
Yeah, those are things. Exactly. But comment below. Tell us what you think. We'd love to hear from you. Don't have to, and I will tell you, I'm going to be upfront and honest. If it's a relative and a great question, those types of things, if somebody just wants to be belligerent or things like that, we will delete the comment. There's no reason for silliness and things of that nature. If you have a good point and you disagree with us in that and whatnot, and you make your argument, fantastic. That's what this is about. It's a forum for those things. If it's just belligerence for the sake of belligerence, it won't be around. Just an FYI. I have no problem saying those things. People go, oh, you deleted because you didn't like it. And everybody goes, oh, no, that's not it. Yep, that's it. That's exactly right, because it wasn't a conversational, constructive thought process that adds to the conversation and gives somebody else something to think about or talk about. That's the way it should work. And that's what we want in the comments. So please share with us. We love to have that. Love the conversation part of it. And again, we got some new stuff coming up. Of course, Mitchy the Kid, we will be punching out the hitting zone here for too long. On the other side of it, we will have one that, and they'll cross match with Justin coming up on the pitching side, nutrition, and they'll cross match, and we'll have some great conversations coming up for you as we continue to develop YBMcast. So, Mitch, good stuff, buddy.
As always, man, I enjoy being part of this show, and I'm excited for this new opportunity. I'm a little nervous, as you know, when sometimes you leave me to do some play-by-play at our GAC games, I get nervous. So I'm trying to prepare myself. Being the main dude, I love feeding off of your energy, and so now I got to be the one that's creative, and I'm a little nervous, but with super pumped. I hope we bring some good material. I've been working on it. And I know that it'll be happening soon for us. We got some good things coming. I am ready to share my thoughts on a different, like a true podcast, if you will, kind of vibe or feel from this venture. So thank you for. I guess we're almost going on 3 years now.
My
I think this July will be 3 years. I think we've been connected, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to say that out loud, Mitch. I mean,
No, I love it.
It's great.
I,
Well,
I,
but that shows too, and we're growing in subscribers. That means, and I appreciate the fans tuning in and listening. We're getting great comments out there when we're at the ballpark for live events at Game 7 tournaments. People, hey, love what you do. That makes me feel so good. I appreciate it. And, I'm sure there's some stuff that we've had where people go, I think you're nuts, and that's cool. That's all right, too. I mean, but people appreciate the conversation, and they're listening and tuning in. And that's why we want to bring these conversations more and more and open that up. And it's not in a negative way. We believe that, and that's what this show is about, solutions. I think we want to bring topics and not just sit and say, I hear so many podcasters on the other side of things, and I listen, there's guys, I don't know what the answer is, but boy, we sure got to talk about it. Well,
if there's enough information to get your answer.
Right. Come on, bro. You don't have an answer, and you're supposed to be telling people what the answer is. I mean, why do I want to listen to you? You're just
and that's the thing. It does, for whatever reason, that sells. It could be the energy of the host or the guest, whatever. But I look at this same thing, Brian, and go, you know what? This has been a process for you.
Yes.
And for us, it hasn't happened overnight. And so and the reason I brought up the 3 years is because it's taken us 3 years to work towards something that I talked to you about the first time I met you over the phone call.
Right.
It's taken us 3 years to put this kind of thing together.
Yeah.
And we just had to trust and if it happens, it happens. If not, we'll continue to do what we're good at.
As our good friends over with the Missouri Gators trust the process. I mean, that's their big banner. And it's true. There is a process to everything. We started this in 2017. And
you've been going way longer than I have with you guys.
Yeah, this is 2024. I mean, so we have
50 followers to now well over 1,000. I mean,
we're well over 1,500 and growing still, and we appreciate it, everybody. So please.
That roster is growing.
Yeah, exactly.
See what I did there?
And our roster is growing because I can't do everything. And that's the thing. We look at this. Here's solutions. Why I say rosters. I can't do everything. We've got the Baron Mathis taking on. We got a new YBMcast Tennessee. He's hosting that show, bringing on great guests and doing that stuff. We got the baseball moms. I've got the ladies, Jenny Mayberry and Tiffany DeManuel, doing their show. Now we're going to be bringing on you, Mitch, with the hitting zone, and Justin with I don't know, live in the K zone, maybe something like that. I don't know. We haven't got that far, but we're working towards these because I know we have to expand the roster in order for us to accomplish these things and to because we have goals that we've set for the show. And we have some great folks. Prep Baseball Report, who comes in and does a lot of stuff with us. Kevin Mulder. It's been great for this for our show. And I appreciate it and the opportunities. Now Diego Solares, Andy Urban over in Kansas City, they've been great to come on the show and talk baseball. So it isn't just one guy. It's all of these contributors. Matt Shadow, who was one of the first guys to really take that interest and come on and being a contributor, and I can't thank him enough for what he did for Youth Baseball Midwest and the opportunities we had with that. So, it's not just one guy, it's your whole roster, right? And you got to have a roster, and we're expanding our roster because we believe that's a great way to success. And so these are principles and practices you can take into your life and what you do after baseball. So that's why I believe that you have to have solutions to these things and opportunities to bring solutions to the table. If it was just me and Mitch sitting here griping and moaning about stuff, I can't do that. That's not me. I mean, there's enough people out there griping and moaning. You got something positive, something to help me move it in the right direction, baby.
That's why I think that we do good together in our shows. Is what is the end result, and then we're always chasing that. So again, thank you. I can't wait to announce the date for the first show, and I guess this is the first time we kind of leaked that on the air for the news things, and so that's your sneak peek. But I'm excited, man. I can't wait, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow and another 3 games at at Carshield.
Yes, indeed.
Talk about roster sizes. There's going to be 20. There's going to be 20 plus kids on every single dugout tomorrow for every game that we get to do.
And we should do that. We'll try and train the cameras in to where we get that shot and talk about that, because when you got the 9 guys on the field, you still have 9 guys in the dugout.
At minimum. I mean, Timberland's got 23 kids, I think, on their team. Troy might be, because they're one of the smaller in the area. They're probably going to have around 18 or so. But look at Fort Zumwalt West. They got a dugout full of dudes. That's why you can make the decisions that you do as a coach. We saw it the other day when we did their game at Fort Zumwalt West. We saw, 3 different number 4 hitters because nobody was getting it done. So Goff had put in a bunch of different, like, hey, I'm just going to throw it at the wall and see if it sticks.
And that's Coach Goff told me.
And it did, if you remember.
Yes. Yeah, the kid hit the big double, RBI, 2 RBI double. And that's what Coach Goff told me. He goes, look, I don't have the roster for you just yet. He says, we're doing some hitting. We're going to make a decision on our 3, 4, 5, or 4, 5, 6 guys. I'm like, okay. And it was, game time. I'm like, Coach, you got it yet? We're working on it. I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. And if you don't have roster sizes, you can't do that. So when a kid, I don't know, pick the Cardinals for an example. We're not hitting very well right now. Imagine having somebody on the bench that you can go, you know what, take this guy's spot. The Cardinals don't have that right now, so you just keep throwing out the same tough watch, in the at-bats, so you nobody's hitting, But if you have 20 guys, or I guess you have 12 position players on a team now, maybe 13. Somebody's got to be able to give you an opportunity, to sit a guy, to give him a break.
Because hitting is hard.
Depends how you look at it. I've accepted failure, Brian.
Thanks for tuning in. We've kept you long enough. Mitch, as always, if you want to follow us, all the stuff is there. All our social stuff, everything is on the page there. Mitch, where can they follow you?
Website. Just go to our website and it'll link you everywhere else, because the Instagrams, TikTok, social media. We're on all of them. And our Hitting Zone website, www.thehittingzonestl.com, will lead you to your favorite social media platform.
There you go. Folks, have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, keep throwing strikes, and hitters,
Hit it with some backspin.
that'll get it over the fence. Have a great day in the Lord. We'll see you next time.